Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Mafex X-Men Phoenix comic version. It's the green and gold Phoenix, and I know it's people have been talking about it, which one's better, this or the Marvel Legends, and I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, like I tell most people in my comment sections when they ask which one should I get, they're too different to compare directly. If you're collecting Marvel Legends, you're not going to go grab this one to throw in your Marvel Legends collection unless you already collect imports. And if you collect imports, you're not going to grab the Marvel Legends ones. They're aimed at different people for different reasons. Are either of them as worth the price tag as they should be? Probably not. We'll get into that a little bit more as we're going, but it really just comes down to what you want, not which is better, because they're too different. The price points are too different, the figure styles are too different, the whole thing, okay? Anyway, this is the new Phoenix, and we're going to see if it's any good. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before we look at the figure, I do want to show you my package. It's a good package, it's fine, I like it. The one downside to this package is it has this really wonderful Phoenix artwork up here, and the figure can't live up to that. Now, I don't mean the hair, because that kind of hair never works in plastic form, so I don't mind them not trying to do that. It always looks super goofy when they do the crazy comic hair, so I don't mind that. But the figure, the shape of the lady, I mean, is quite a bit more curvy than the actual action figure, so that's going to be a downside, I think, to having that artwork there. But whatever, it's okay, I guess. We'll talk about that more in a minute, but the package is fine for you inbox collectors. Very interesting pose on the side there. This side's a little bit better. Alright, and then you get the back, which is fine. I don't think Mafex has the most interesting packaging, typically speaking, but it's perfectly fine. A little bit open on the top for light. It's fine. For you inbox collectors, I don't think you're going to be thrilled, but I think you'll be just fine with it. Alright, this figure stands just about 15.5 centimeters. That's going to make it pretty close to, let's just call it 6 1/8, right around there. This figure is in stock at Big Bad Toy Store. I'll put a link in the description below if you want to check it out for yourself. And you can decide by the end of this review if that's a good thing or not for you to do. Anyway, let's do a question of the day. Are you mixing and matching Marvel Legends and Mafex figures, or are you collecting both? Are you collecting only one? How are you doing it? For me, obviously, I collect both lines, but I don't mix them. I don't have any desire to mix these two lines. They don't look the same. They're too different. They're too disparate. So that's my take on it. If I'm going to get one figure, or if I'm going to get a character from one, that doesn't mean I'm not going to get the other. It's not one or the other for me for this sort of thing. Alright, so let's start with the aesthetic on this figure. Like I said, way less curvy than the source material, but this one's not bad. We've seen some female figures like Poison Ivy that really look like a sock filled with potatoes. This one doesn't look like that, so that's a good thing. It has more shape to it, I would say, but I think we're still lacking a little bit, and that's not about being a pervert, it's about accuracy to the source material. We want our toys, our collectibles, to look like the thing they're supposed to represent. Otherwise, what's the point? This one, I think, is close enough. It'll scratch that itch for the character. You're not going to be like, oh, she looks awful, that sort of thing, but I do think a little bit more curve, a little bit more muscle, that sort of thing, a little bit more comic appeal would go quite a long ways. That being said, they have gotten better and better with their paint jobs lately, and this one is no exception. The gold paint throughout the figure is phenomenal. It's not marbly plastic, so it looks extra nice. There's no shading on it, unfortunately. Same thing for the green. It's a nice flat, or at least matte finish. Probably matte would be a better descriptor. Very consistent, looks good. The little bit of transition painting, like the gold to green, that's very clean. And then the logo on her chest is also exceptionally clean. So for Mafex, this is a standout. It looks really good. No problems at all, really, with the paint. I mean, it's not going to be absolutely perfect, but that is fine by me. Obviously, the no shading does hurt it a little bit, and again, it's not as well sculpted as I think it could be, but it still looks good. And then for the head, I think this is the head that came on it in the package. I might have swapped them out, but this is the head that I have on it right now. It is clean. It's really nicely done. You have the white eyes. The paints are all super clean on there. Nothing stands out as being a problem. The hair is sculpted well enough, except for this piece. I feel like that's going to get in the way more than it needs to, so that's a bit of a bummer. But otherwise, it's a good hair, and it does have some like detail painting in there. Not sure I love that because it's a different finish, the orange streaks. are a little bit shinier than the rest, but it's still a welcomed addition. It looks decent, especially if you're not like right up on it for a review. So yeah, I think it's not bad. It's definitely not as good as it could be, and I think that's probably the case for all Mafex females at least, because they are a bit slender, but not to the degree that I think Marvel Legends usually are. So I think this is alright. For Mafex, I'm going to give it I'll give it an 8. It's clean. It's nothing stand-outish, but it is very, very clean. And the different metallic to matte finish is very nice. Alright, as far as accessories go, we have 3 different heads. We have the head that you already saw on the figure with the windswept hair. Then we have one where it's just hanging straight down. And that's a very nice face paint. It's very, very clean. And then we have the yelling one with the curly hair. Again, really clean, really well done. Not a huge fan of that face sculpt, but it is, I think, fairly accurate. I'll probably never use it, but it's alright. And then for hands, we have the 2 relaxed hands that come on in the package. Then we get a small variety of other hands. I think that's probably all you need for Phoenix, so it's reasonable. You do get an alternate belt slash sash, or whatever you would call that. I don't know. Downside for that is neither of them have a swivel where it connects. So you just have the down one or the windswept one, so that's a bit of a bummer. And then lastly, we get the Mafex display stand, which is always nice to have. So accessory-wise, it's nothing incredible. I think for the price point, it is acceptable, but not especially good, so I'll just give it a 7 for that. I like having alternate heads and hands and things, and that's a necessity at this point, but no effect parts of any variety is a bummer, especially at what is a relatively basic figure at a pretty high price point. Alright, let's talk about the articulation. We'll start by just yoinking that head right off, and you do get the ball peg in the neck, so that's down here. That moves around pretty well. I like that. And you do get the double ball peg on top of the neck. Now, they do almost always, maybe always, have that bent ball peg, and that's so that you can lean the head extra in one direction. I don't know that that's useful on this figure especially since she'll probably be in a flight pose. You can't make her look down without popping the head off and rotating this around, which is fine. I'm just not sure I'm a huge fan of that. It's not a good thing or a bad thing. I guess it's a good thing if you like it, but let's see how the head actually moves around. If I can get it back on. What is happening? There we go. Alright, so can the head move around nicely? This hair is awkward because it's windswept, so it's going to look weird as you pose it, but I think it's not the best. That ball peg is really not great on top of the neck. It's okay. It's going to be more limited than I want, I think. Partly due to the hair, partly due to that ball peg, so it's just okay. Now for the shoulders, this is a floating cap that just lets the arm move around, so you get good range out of that shoulder, so that's nice. You can raise it up better than horizontal. That's very clean. Nothing really gappy or anything like that, so that's pretty good. You're going to get your full rotation, no issues there other than where the hair is. Bicep swivel is fine, double jointed elbows. Probably should have better range. It's just a little bit better than 90, and there's really no reason for it to be that limited. It looks good, but it is limited. For the wrist, it's a little ball hinge, so that works no problem. That'll be fine. And then for the torso, we have... should be a double ball peg. It feels like a double ball peg. Can she lean back really far? Not super far, and that's with the top only. It's okay. She's leaning a little bit back on the bottom too here. Let's fix that. There we go. So it's okay. Let's see about going forward. Yeah, it's alright. Nothing great, nothing bad. Side to side is really limited. That kind of blows. And then rotation is limited too. Alright, down here at the lower, can we get... with those combined... with her powers combined, she can lean back very nicely, so that's good. You have to hide that, but you can. Alright, leaning forward. If you tuck it in, since I've opened this keeps happening. Her pelvis piece keeps getting stuck under the abdomen. I don't know if that's just mine or yours, but if you wiggle it around, you can make it work. And then she leans forward pretty well. It's not great, but that's fine, I would say. And then side to side down there, that's much better. It's gonna get goofy looking, unless you really fiddle with the belt every time you pose it, but you can do that, so that's fine, and then you get your rotation down there too. So yeah, it's okay. The torso is nothing special, but it is okay. Now for the hips, no drop down. I like that. Going straight out to the side, basically full on splits, so that's a good thing. And then you're going to be able to kick forward to horizontal just about, and that's without flexing. Wait a minute, there is a drop down. Oh, I guess it was just really tight. Okay, well, let's see how high she can kick with the drop down and flexing. Very high, so that's good. As far as drop downs go, This isn't a bad one. It's nice and stiff. It still has the problems of a drop down, but it's not the worst one I've ever seen, so whatever. I can't get these companies to stop doing drop down hips. The hinge ball pegs are just such a nuisance, but they do have some utility, and this one's okay, so can't really fault them too much for it. Thigh swivel is in there. It's not much, but it's there. Double jointed knee works nicely. Proportions are iffy, but not terrible. And then for the ankles, probably a too big ball hinge, but you get really good range out of it. Good ankle rocker, of course. And then your toe hinge is solid, nothing special, but good enough. So her articulation, yeah, it is perfectly acceptable. I'm not upset with it at all. Does she have as much range as I would like in a lot of the joints? No. Could she? Yes, I think so. But it's fine. And it's not like she needs to do a lot of martial arts or anything, though you should be able to do as much as you can with any figure, no matter what their source material is. I think that's the fun of action figures. I want to make them do things they don't necessarily have to do. But she definitely can do what she has to do, and probably a little bit more. That head is a problem, though. That ball peg is already floppy, too, so not perfect, for sure. I'll say 7. It's fine, nothing special at all, really. So, time for the final verdict. Is this a good addition to the collection? If you're into the Mafex line, yes, it is definitely at least on par with the average good ones. I don't think there's anything too special about it other than the paint finish is really nice. It does pose well enough. It has enough accessories. It is fine. It is not going to stand out, but it is going to be good enough. So for a Mafex collector, I'm going to give this, I'll say 7.5 to 8 out of 10. You can pick, depending on what you value. Again, comparing it to the Marvel Legends, it's like, yeah, that one's going to be cheaper, comes with an effect part, but that thing is still wholly overpriced, so there's really no comparison. You're either in or you're out for either line, and then you have to decide for that. There's no, like, well, Mafex is better, so I'm not going to get the Marvel Legends one. I don't think that's a thing. Or at least it really shouldn't be, because they're so different. But you guys can let me know what you think about that in the comment section below. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.